Mbarara University is the second medical school in Uganda. In May of each year, students go out to rural health centers in multidisciplinary groups for their rural placements. Two cornerstones of the rural placements are the senior faculty involvement as teachers and supervisors and the week-long orientation. Here, Dean Sam Malling guides students as they explore root causes during orientation week. The leadership program was introduced to provide interactive leadership training and provides a foundation for the students' project in the rural areas. Prof. Joel Bariza of Medical Microbiology leads students through a session. Orientation week begins the rural placements. During this week, students meet in their site teams, learn about the challenge model of leadership, and receive grounding in primary health care. Skills and tools for working with communities are introduced during orientation. A role play, for instance, emphasizes key skills and attitudes needed for successful engagement of community. Although not all students are initially thrilled to be off to rural, undeveloped villages in southwestern Uganda, by the end of orientation week, there's a marked attitudinal shift as the challenge unfolds and as the groups work together to overcome any obstacles. The transport of more than 350 students, their mattresses, bedding, equipment, and supplies to 45 different sites in southwestern Uganda is a massive undertaking. Trucks, buses, university vehicles, and taxis are used. Initially, recruiting appropriate rural sites was not easy, but recently, health centers in the area and communities have been petitioning to be included as future sites. Largely as a result of the rural placement program, many of the formerly health centers in southwestern Uganda without physicians are now staffed with MUST graduates. MUST graduates head all 5 Health Center 4s in one district. Health Center 4s have surgical capacity as well as outpatient and inpatient capacity. What assists students in adjusting to rural life, which can include limited access to water, no power, poor internet access, long distance to markets, and unreliable cell phone coverage, is a burgeoning awareness of the constraints, realities, and desperate circumstances for those they have come to assist. Participating, even for a limited period, in the hard realities of rural poverty brings home to students the importance of putting their education to good use to address the disparity of which they are witness. But it is not all work and no play. Groups stationed near the impenetrable forest, without even getting off the main road, witness sights they have not seen before, such as these loggers pit sawing massive tree trunks with a precision rarely matched by automated machinery. Students spend half their time doing clinic work. In Fort Portal, while the medical student looks on, the medical laboratory student takes blood from a patient, and the pharmacy student dispenses medications at the window. Learning to work together as a multidisciplinary team is crucial for health professionals. MUST graduates not only practice these valuable skills in their rural placements, but come to appreciate their importance. The other half of the students' time is spent on community activities. At the beginning of their stay, meetings are held to determine the health issues of community interest, during the project to engage in health education, and at the end of their stay to report on their findings to the community. Student projects have uncovered hidden health issues. A significant number of pesticide poisonings were noted in outpatient data at one site. Students met with local cattle keepers, learning that most could not read the English warnings on the pesticide containers that they were using for weekly cattle spraying, and none were using protective clothing. Health education and locally made protective clothing were prepared and demonstrated for them. One of my areas of focus is providing students with skills in using tools that require minimal literacy so they can be used in the community. Here, students discuss a code on dependency and how it might apply with a supervisor. We have been able to provide beds at some sites, but a number still lack beds, so students sleep, eat, and work on their mattresses on the floor. At the end of the rural placement, students present their projects and reflect on their experiences. As one student commented, "When I first arrived at the site, I thought I was in a black hole. We had no power. Water had to be carried from afar. The market was distant. We were sleeping on the floor and cooking our own food. But by the time I left, I appreciated how people in these areas coped with such difficulties and how resilient they were, and I wanted to return and help them in this area. The success of the rural placements has resulted in increasing numbers of international students applying to come to Imbarara. To address this, a cross-cultural workshop has been developed and introduced. Students from Harvard, University of Saskatchewan, University of Calgary, and Somalia engage here with our Uganda students. For the future, knowing that engaged communities with active community-based health workers not only provide a better learning milieu for our students, but are more likely to achieve sustainable changes, we have begun building community capacity. Perhaps the most inspiring aspect of the program is the way the isolated communities have warmed to the commitment and enthusiasm of visiting students. Here, members of the Batwa from near the Congo border proudly show the students a basket they have made to transport patients over high mountain passes. Most students return from their postings with a renewed appreciation of the resilience of rural people, and many with a commitment to return. The rural placement provides many students with their first research project. A number of faculty have assisted groups to write up their projects and present them at MUST Scientific Symposia in November. Presentations about the rural placement program have also been made at global health conferences in other sites.